Hi there, my name's Imogen Weatherhead and I'm the co-founder and CEO at Qudini, and we're seeing more and more retailers implement virtual queuing systems, appointment booking software, call-a-colleague solutions, and also contactless online order pickup services. And so we've created this best practice guide to help our clients to optimize their signage to get the most out of using these systems. So a brief sneak peek of what's inside. We've got suggestions for what your signage should say, where you could put it within your store, and also other ideas for promoting your retail choreography solutions to customers within the store. So why this is really important: retailers are gaining significant benefits by using appointment booking systems, virtual queuing, and contactless pickup services, as well as enabling customers to call a colleague from anywhere in store. But key to reaping these benefits, so the increased sales, the increased foot traffic, and also improved operations and reduced costs as a result, is letting their customers know about the service. So we've created this best practice guide to help customers create really succinct but also striking in-store signage that drives customers to the right action. And all of it uses our kind of perfect signage formula over here on the right. So you've got having your kind of key call to action at the top alongside naming your service with a really kind of consistent name that you use across all your materials, having your value proposition which explains the service but also the benefit to the customers, potentially having 3 key steps to explain the journey to customers in more detail if they're going to need to know more information, as well as addressing key customer concerns like what to do if they have no phone or what do you do with their data. And then you can also have a question at the top if you're only trying to target specific customers for specific missions to help triage the right customers. All of our examples in this pack are visualized through our fictional brands that we've created for the different types of clients that we're largely working with to really bring everything to life for you. So first of all is defining your offering. Before creating this signage, you need to define each of these key components. So we've got some best practice tips on how to do that here. First of all is naming your service. It's really important to give your service a name that is very, very clear and relevant, is simple, can potentially be on brand, and is also very consistent across all of your materials, whether that's your in-store, your colleague education, or your customer education pieces as well. You're free to use the Qudini brand, and we've seen lots of clients actually do that, and they're getting tweets about Qudini. So it's becoming more known, and actually customers are being educated from one brand to another by them using the Qudini logo. But you may also want to use something original. Some suggestions we've got: so for virtual queuing, you might just call it the virtual queue or the digital queue or the Qudini queue. For booking appointments, you might call it bookable appointments, or you might relate it to the specific service it relates to, such as stylist appointments, or contactless collection is for kind of click and collect services, or curbside pickup. Or if it's for kind of calling a colleague for help, you might call it something like request an advisor or call a colleague. But it's most important to be relevant, simple, consistent, and on brand where possible. Next is creating a really compelling call to action statement that you use at the top of all of your signage content to tell customers what they need to do. And that actually might include the service name straight after it. So examples include join the virtual queue for virtual queuing, or book an appointment. Or you could use a question to triage customers first. For example, just speaking to click and collect customers or BOPIS customers, you can say here to collect an order, check in, or click to call for help if it's for call a colleague services. But the most important things with call to action are: A, on your signage, it is the biggest and boldest piece of text that if a customer is just scanning across the store, that's the single thing that hits them, that they memorize, and they come back to the signage because they're interested to see what that means. It's at the top of all of your signs. It's relevant, and it also explains to the customer what they need to do. So make sure it says kind of join the virtual queue, or just not generic like join here, for example. Using verbs, kind of authoritative language, really motivates the customer towards action, so they're much more likely to take an action if you say something like join, book, check in, click. And also you can use questions and your service name in order to triage the customers that you want to speak to, such as mission specific messages, so are you here to collect an order, check in here, or challenge specific questions such as do you hate standing in line, join the virtual queue. It's really important to put pen to paper and write down what your value proposition is. And this will be kind of not used specifically within your sign, but often teased out within the content in your signage. So you want to talk about what the service is and what its benefit is to customers in one very, very simple declarative statement that's written in the language of the customer, that's clear on the benefits and service, that explains why they should use it, that can be read and understood in just 5 seconds, and that can drive the customer to take a specific action, and where possible be very succinct but also a little bit creative if you can. Some examples we've got for our solutions are virtual queuing. Escape waiting in line by joining our virtual queue, and we'll update you as your turn draws near. So escape waiting in line explains the benefit, and then by joining the virtual queue and we'll update you explains how it works and what the service is. Or we've got book an appointment for personalized service at the time and place that suits you. So book an appointment for personalized service explains what the service is. At the time and place that suits you explains the main benefit to the customer as why they should use the service. Then we've got for click and collect an order without even leaving your car by checking in from your phone when you arrive. So collect without leaving your car is the benefit and also a bit of an explanation, and then by checking in from your car explains what the service is. We also find it's really useful to use really clear and simple icons and images in your signage. So these can be used to firstly show customers what they need to do, so kind of visual nudges. We found some of our clients doubled QR code scan rates when they included a phone with a hand on over the QR code, because it really shows customers the action they need to take. But also using images at the bottom or around your signage that helps explain what the service is. So something like the virtual queue could be a phone within shopping trolleys, or customers in a cloud to show it's a cloud queuing. Appointment booking calendars are great, or for click and collect, showing kind of customers receiving their orders at the car. So when it comes to visual images, I thought it really useful to include this concept of what a nudge is for inspiration. So a nudge is kind of a theory by a behavioral economist that basically says a nudge is a subtle cue or context change that pushes a user to make a certain decision without forcing them to. So it helps to influence behavior with kind of small and sometimes creative suggestions and positive reinforcements that drive action while still allowing customers to have freedom of choice. So as the author of the book says, there's no such thing as neutral design. Small and apparently insignificant details can have major impacts on people's behaviors. So some examples on the right here are basketball hoops over different bins that encourage people to put their products or their items in the bin. You also had Amsterdam Airport painted little flies on the urinals to help kind of improve bathroom cleanliness. And you can see stairs with arrows kind of encouraging customers to use the stairs and showing them how many calories they burn by taking the stairs when that's right next to an escalator. How you could use nudges within Qudini is using things like footsteps to point towards where they need to go to get to the signage, or using arrows within the signage to point to key things that customers need to do or read. Next, it's also really good to just very simply write down what your key customer journey is. So what are the steps the customer needs to go through to use the service? And it's very important to remember that customers do not read text. Like, people just become completely blind to lots of text. So keep it really, really simple and live by the power of 3 where possible. So if you can distill it down to 3 steps, that will massively help. And try and inject your brand tone of voice to make it engaging but also helpful to read in the process. So we've got some steps examples here, which you can see more if you download this full pack online as well. And now you've created all of your signage components. So it's time to bring it all together in your sign and to ensure that you've got a really relevant cadence of content and you keep the content to a minimum and lead the customer into reading more and more if they need to and if they're interested in using the service. Within our pack, you can see kind of what these signage suggestions are, but you've got your question, your call to action, then your service name, your icons and images, your value proposition, your customer journey steps, and then at the bottom you want to include your logo so customers know this. And then at the bottom you want to include your logo so customers can remember who they're engaging with. To help our clients produce this signage, we've created this signage planning canvas, we call it, where you can list out all the kind of key points that we've just taken you through here. And at the back of our pack, we've got some examples with lots of different ideas and suggestions, depending on which Qudini Retail Choreography solution you're using. So this is an example for virtual queuing. We've kind of filled it out with possible service names, call to actions, different ideas for images you might want to do, your value proposition and your customer journey steps. Same for appointment booking, same for contactless click and collect as well. And then once you've done that, it's time to bring all of your signage pieces together and turn them into some really beautiful images that engage customers. So this is just some examples of how these different formula components could be laid out in a sign through our fictional brands. So this is join a queue. You can see it's really, really clear on the call to action at the top on every single sign. Here we've implemented a kind of question to triage the right customers. We kind of really love the QR code with the hand over it to nudge customers to show them what they need to do. Some of them we just include the value proposition, and other ones we've tried like very brief on the value proposition in terms of the benefit, and then the explanation goes into the 3 steps afterwards. And we've used images to kind of explain what the service is all across the signage as well. Same for appointment booking, again with our fictional brands. So this one's just very brief and says book an appointment. You've got the QR code there as well. This one we've kind of included the 3 steps. And then this one we've done kind of a question to triage customers at the top to explain why they want to use the service. Click and collect, again, similar. So different ways of doing, like, are you here to collect an order, or just check in here for contactless pickup. Ideas for using the 3 steps versus just telling the customer what to do and the value proposition, so explanation and the benefit. And again, with images that help explain kind of customer receiving their order at the car, with a staff member getting a text message, for example. So all of that can be seen in more detail in our pack. And then we've got a really great example here that we love from one of our clients, Asda. They've got at the top, it says, Q smart, stay safe. And what I love about that most is that it's a call to action. It's telling the customer what to do, but it's also a value proposition. It's explaining what the service is and the benefit, because the explanation is Q smart and the benefit is stay safe. And it almost forms kind of a slogan, which is basically a kind of creative condensation of the call to action and the value proposition. And then after that, they've got kind of a few simple steps to explain to the customer what they need to do. They've addressed the key kind of customer FAQs, which is what do I do if I don't have a phone? And they visually explain the process as well. So we also really love the Nike Town Express shop. So we love that they've included the service name very clearly at the top. They've included all the benefits of using the service. And most importantly, they've included this hand that's scanning the QR code to show customers exactly what the purpose of the QR code is and what they need to do with it. So that's everything on kind of creating content. Now I'm going to show you some suggestions for how to create the different signage and ideas for where you can put signage. A few key points to remind you of. Firstly, customers don't read text. So keep the call to actions really loud and clear, minimize the text, and have a logical content cadence, and break any longer explanations up into 3 steps where possible. Explain the benefit. So always tell customers why they should do something, what's the benefit to them. Use images to nudge customers to show them what they need to do and to visualize the benefits for them. Remember that verbs speak louder than all other words, so use authoritative language to tell customers what to do. So join, book, call, check-in. Triage customers using questions if you need to, so address the customers you want to speak to. Vary your font formatting when you're visually doing it, so different sizes, different fonts, different colors to kind of highlight key messages and just make your signage stand out. Address customer problems if you need to with kind of an FAQ or what should they do if type section. Make your signage match if you're using Qudini for virtual queuing and appointment booking. Make it match in terms of format, but make it differ in terms of design so customers can visually differentiate between virtual queuing and booking appointments. And also try out numbers, symbols, and punctuations, because non-letters will draw customers' attention to your signage as well. So here's some suggestions on where you can put your different Qudini signage pieces. This is kind of taken inspiration from what we've seen some of our clients do. So first of all, you've got your end of queue barriers here. So showing customers at the point where they'd otherwise be queuing that actually they can join the virtual queue or they can book an appointment. Lollipop signs just throughout your store are great. Window posters as well, particularly for things that customers will want to do when they're outside of store, like check in for their online order or book an appointment to come back another day. You can have easels in the window to kind of really put it big front and center, and even part of your marketing campaigns outside of your store, particularly for booking appointments. So telling customers that you offer this service is very useful to do within your key messages. We've seen some clients kind of put it around their reception desk or a key desk within their store, explaining what their service is, but reminding customers that they can book an appointment for that. So this is a fake electronics world store and they're tech experts, and the sign reminds them they can book an appointment if they need to. Digital signage as well, why not leverage that? Moving images draw customer attention, so if you can tell customers about your contactless click and collect service or booking appointments or virtual queuing, that's a great way to engage them. We love also the idea of including signage on your kind of store close sign. So when customers can't come into store, why not tell them that they can book an appointment to find out your store opening times and come in at a fixed time that suits them? As well as desk signs are also great for kind of call a colleague or virtual queuing. So if you've got your advisors aren't at the desk, they can just leave this sign here and customers know what the backup is to get service, whether that's booking an appointment or scanning to call a colleague or to join a virtual queue for somewhere else in the store. And then for contactless click and collect, there are lots of ways you can tell customers what they need to do from outside of store. So first of all, kind of an end of parking bay placard that stands out at the front and center of the bay, or a lollipop sign, again making the kind of QR code visual with the hand scanning it really clear. We've seen some of our customers use painted or vinyl sticker on their parking bays. When you do this, it's useful to include the parking bay number, but make sure that that service name is front and center so customers know exactly what the purpose of that bay is. If you're using a kiosk to enable your customers to check in to join the virtual queue or to book an appointment or an event via Qudini, you can also make your kiosk stand out. So it's important to kind of include a call to action above it that explains what they need to do. You've got a visual nudge there that leads the customer's eye down to the kiosk, and also having kind of moving images, which our kiosk app supports on the front of the kiosk, can really help to draw customer attention to it, as well as maybe using visual nudges to point customers towards the kiosk. It could be like footsteps on the ground that lead the customer to the kiosk, so that they're more likely to go to the kiosk to ask for help than to try and find a staff member. One of the things that our clients always want to know with kiosks and QR codes, how do they make sure the customer defaults to that rather than defaulting to going and finding a staff member? And there's a big education piece here. So one thing we found is that if a store colleague is visible and available, customers will always try and go to them first, unless you have really, really clear call to action signage and also these visual nudges that show customers where they need to go, so like the footsteps pointing towards the place they need to go. But if they do go to an advisor, it's important to ensure that that advisor kind of educates the customer. So they don't want to let the customer bypass the process, but they also don't want to be unhelpful and say, go over there and do that without helping them. So hosts should be equipped with a tablet, and they can add the customer to the queue or book them an appointment from there. But they need to use some kind of educational messaging that tells the customer what they should do next time. So for example, all our advisors are busy at the moment, but fortunately we have a virtual queuing system. I can add you from my tablet if you'd like, or you can go and scan the QR code on this sign and you'll then be able to get a text message and see your place countdown in the queue. So it's kind of helping the customer. It's not telling them they have to go and scan in on the sign, but also telling them that there is a sign that they can scan in from, and also kind of explaining the benefits of the service to the customer. That's really important. Always explain the why. A lot of retailers are just using hosts, some without signage to join the queue by phone, and some in addition to. And it's important to get your host to stand out a little bit. A, so that customers find them easily. B, so that they don't try and get that staff member to serve them, because sometimes they might see, okay, well, the host says all our advisors are busy, but you're a host, but you're an advisor, so why can't you help me? And so if you kind of differentiate this person visually by showing that they're slightly set apart from the rest of their team and their role is just to be the host, this can help with that customer education piece. So some of the things that we've seen retailers do are put like a different coloured lanyard or a badge on the host that kind of has their role, or that could be a different hoodie or even a cap or a hat or something that helps them stand out. Also using a kind of lollipop signage or even like a plinth to enable the host to kind of stand behind it, and it's very clearly kind of a reception kind of greeting point for the host, and also using signage to explain what it is that the host does. Yeah, so that's really important, as well as you can also use the visual nudges like footsteps on the door that show the customer to go to the greeting point where the host would be standing. And again, for the host, it's very important for them to kind of tell the customer that their role is the host if the customer is trying to get them to give them service. So also to help with retailers that are implementing our system, we surveyed 2,000 consumers on how they would want to join the virtual queue or book appointments. And we found that customers were most interested in joining the virtual queue by text message. So Qudini offers the option to not only enable customers to scan a QR code to join the queue, but also to kind of have a code. So say text this 4545 to this longer number with your name and join the virtual queue that way. So that's something that you can also include on your signage just below the QR code or in addition. Also enabling the customer to join via the retailer's app. So you could have, if they scan the QR code and they have the app on their phone, that will open up the app to book an appointment or join the queue. Self-service kiosks were also popular amongst half of customers. They were more popular amongst the younger generations, interestingly, and then also the host. A lot of our clients ask us what percentage of customers would want to give their mobile number to receive queuing updates. Our survey showed that 60% of customers would be willing to give their mobile number purely to receive queuing updates, and 32% would be willing to give their mobile number in order to opt in to marketing messaging. For booking an appointment, we found that most customers said they would want to book the appointment online. Second to that was using text message or the retailer's app. 40% would want to use QR codes, and that's in-store or in the retailer's ads, whether that's kind of your bus stop ads or your print ads or your tube station ads. And interestingly, customers were more interested in calling the store for appointment booking than they were to call the contact center to book an appointment. Again, we found half of customers were willing to give their email or mobile number to receive appointment reminders, and 34% were willing to opt into marketing. For contactless click and collect, we also asked customers how they wanted to check in. And again, SMS was the most popular method, just like it is with virtual queuing. Second to that was using the retailer's app. And after that was kind of checking in from a link that's sent in their order confirmation email telling them that their order's in store. Self-service methods like QR code and tablet were slightly less popular, and then also kind of checking in from a customer service desk or through a host with a tablet had less of an appeal for contactless pickup, probably because it defeats the point of having a contactless pickup if you have to engage with a host or a reception desk. Interestingly, when you look at this by age group, you can see Millennial and Gen Z customers in the red here and Baby Boomers in blue here. Largely, they're the same, except for these self-service methods like QR codes. Millennial and Gen Z customers are much more interested in using QR codes, and actually they kind of almost balance out the idea of using a text message or a host with a tablet, as they are as interested with using a QR code. And it's the same for kind of checking in for online orders as well as booking appointments as well. So now that you've got all of your signage to engage customers when they get to store, you can also have different methods to tell the customers about your service within their store for their next visit or before they even get to store. So here's just a few ideas that we've visualized. So first of all, if you're doing this kind of additional information signage, the sign should be very similar in terms of content, with the exception of the call to action. The CTA does not need to be as loud and clear because you're not telling customers to do it there and then. So you can be a bit more informative. For example, did you know? Or a newsflash, or next time you visit, why not something, something, something. So it's a little bit softer. So these are some example flyers that we've drawn up to tell customers about your service. So next time you visit, enjoy your wait by joining Digital Queue. You see you've got the softer kind of informative lead in there, but you've still got the value proposition and how it works, and then some visuals to explain what happens. Same for appointment booking, same for collecting online orders, and same for call a colleague. Next, you've also got business cards. Can be quite useful to hand out a small piece of content to customers to tell them what they need to do next time they come in. Flyers, leaflets as well can be great. Pets at Home actually stuck on their parcels a little flyer telling customers about their contactless pickup service. So if customers didn't use the contactless pickup service when they visited the store the first time, they're educated on what they can do next time they come to the Pets at Home store. And then there's educating customers before they get to the store as well. So how do you leverage your omni-channel presence to tell customers about your great experience within the store? First of all, if it's contactless click and collect, enabling customers to check in from their order confirmation email is really important. And obviously, as we've seen in our stats, it's one of the top ways customers want to check in. So you can see Currys PC World here. They include in your order confirmation email here. You can see more details on what to do when you get to store. They even include the Qudini logo and a very clear button that says I'm at store. And that takes them through to a page where they can check in using their phone and enter their car vehicle details and their name before they're added into the virtual queue to pick up their order. We've done a mock-up of how this could look for other retailers. We've stripped the steps to 3 simple steps and included a button at the bottom. We love the idea of including the Qudini logo, obviously, and also addressing customers if they're on foot, what they should do as well. And next also is about appointment booking. So within Qudini, you can use our appointment booking emails to tell customers all about their appointment time, so remind them just before their appointment is due. But within those emails, you could also tell them what they need to do, what the process is when they get to store, like they need to check in from their phone or they need to go and speak to the host, so that you make sure that that journey when they get to store is really seamless. A couple of our clients have produced these amazing videos that explain their different services to their customers. So Currys PC World created this Collect Your Tech video, which explains their whole drive-through click and collect process and how the customer can check in from their order confirmation email. And then you've got NatWest, who are telling customers all about their video banking appointment service and how customers can book their appointments online. And we're really proud to be powering these services and to be such a great feature of both these videos. You can also tell customers on your website what you're doing. So this could be a dedicated landing page saying like how we improve your in-store experience. We offer bookable appointments, we offer virtual queuing, we offer contactless collections. And you can also include this on each individual store page. So within, say, this is kind of your individual store page for our fake retailer Cutie Fashion on 5th Avenue, New York. You can tell the customer that you offer within this store appointment booking, virtual queuing, and contactless pickup, and even enable them to book an appointment from that page. You could also do this on your overall store finder. You can use entry pop-ups that encourage customers to come to store through the great services you offer, the ability to book an appointment. You can also use kind of banners at the top of your web page and also include your kind of key options and links at the footer as well. Individual product pages can also drive customers to book appointments, whether that's a virtual one or an in-store appointment, and also your nav bar can also be used. You might also look to mention your different services within your social media posts, so to tell customers about the great experience you offer in store, whether that's booking appointments at the bottom of your general ads or even posting specific ads about appointment booking services. You can also promote your virtual queuing services and also your kind of collecting online order services as well. And the great thing about Qudini is we've got a wealth of data and a really, really detailed statistics platform that enables you to see how customers are checking in for joining the queue, booking appointments or contactless online orders, that can really help you understand which signage is working best and which methods are working best and most useful to customers. And you can use this to help A/B test different signage content, different ways of promoting your appointment booking offering as well. Thank you so much for watching. My name's Imogen, co-founder and CEO at Qudini. If you're interested to learn more about how to optimize your signage, please feel free to get in touch with our team. And also, if you want a demo of how Qudini works or any of the products I've mentioned today that you're not already using, please again feel free to get in touch with our team. Thank you so much for watching.